Good morning, friends. I've recorded a short message for this Sunday for those who are feeling especially discouraged at the moment, especially those who are struggling with hope. I've called it Finding Hope Through Stillness. Have you ever been caught in an earthquake? Well, I can't say that I have, but I have heard that it is one of the most frightening experiences known to man. I mean, the very fact that at any moment the ground could open up and swallow you whole like the mouth of some kind of primeval monster is an incredibly frightening thing. In fact, interestingly enough, for many ancient peoples, earthquakes were understood as the movements of great monsters under the earth, and at any moment the monster could come out and wreak havoc on the world. Okay, well, maybe not an earthquake, but have you ever been caught in an ocean, across an ocean somewhere, and experienced the unforgiving power of the sea? I have. In fact, there was a time when, straight after catching a marlin with a good friend of mine, I won't tell you who he was because I'll embarrass him, he might be watching this, but we were caught in a massive storm, and we were thrashing around as it was darkening, the sun was setting, and all of a sudden the lights went out in the boat and we were just absolutely terrified. The ocean was crashing around us, massive waves. I can't tell you how big they were, but I tell you what, my blood literally curdled with fright. For ancient peoples, the sea was this dark and fearsome place from which evil and often monsters would emerge. And interestingly enough, for the Israelites, who actually weren't a seafaring people, the sea came to represent this kind of evil and chaos, the dark powers of the world or of the underworld that might do to God's people what the flood had done to the whole world. Unless, of course, God rescued them as he had rescued Noah and his family. Well, the sea, friends, like the earthquake, can't be understood. It can't be controlled or managed by science or modern technology. And we're finding, all of us, in this coronavirus, an unknown kind of dark and fearsome monster of evil that just can't seem to be controlled. Or it's frightening to imagine that this incredible modern science that we have understood to seem to have the capacity to solve almost anything does not have a solution. And it brings forth within all of us an incredible fear. But hey, it's okay to be afraid. It's okay, I'm afraid. But we know that God can control this virus as he controls the wind and the sea. The Bible makes it very clear that he controls the wind and the sea. And in a beautiful passage, the disciples in the New Testament were caught on this massive storm on the Sea of Galilee. It was about to smash them all into pieces. Jesus, who was asleep at the time, actually awoke, and all he does is speak, and the wind and the waves become calm. But you know what? Jesus doesn't always calm the waves. The presence of a lighthouse, for example, doesn't stop the storm or make the rocks disappear. It serves as a way of giving confidence and assurance to sailors so that they can navigate difficult places. And for us as Christians, our relationship with Jesus Christ is the same. The presence of Christ in our world doesn't guarantee that there will be no storms. It doesn't guarantee there will be no suffering. But as we focus on Jesus and his light and his truth, we receive confidence and assurance that he will get us through this storm. In Psalm 46, one of my favourite passages, it says this: God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. Therefore we will not fear, though the earth give way and the mountains fall into the heart of the sea, though the waters roar and foam and the mountains quake with their surging. It goes on to say, verse 10, be still and know that I am God. I'll be exalted among the nations. I'll be exalted in the earth. The Lord Almighty is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. Be still and know that I am God, God says. Let us worship God for what he is able to do. You see, as somebody once said, courage isn't the absence of fear, but the management of fear. And I like to say we have a good manager in Jesus Christ. So I encourage you, in this time especially, spend some serious time in stillness and let the Spirit of God nourish your soul in the truth that Jesus swallowed fear and death, and because of the cross, his perfect love drives out fear, as it says in 1 John 4:18. Friends, I'll encourage you, let Jesus steer your worried heart back to the shore, to the solid rock, his word, his truth, his promises, and your inheritance in Jesus with God's people, this inheritance that Peter says will never spoil, perish or fade. 1 Peter 1:4. God bless.